So welcome to this part, the last part of our course about cinematography and editing as a profession. Cinematographers or directors of photography, this profession demands both technical expertise with cameras, lenses, and lighting, as well as a creative eye for capturing scenes that communicate the intended emotion and atmosphere. Many aspiring cinematographers start as a camera assistant or operators, gaining hands-on experience on film sets before moving into more specialized roles. Cinematography as a career can lead professionals into diverse genres from documentary and television to high-budget feature films. The path offers flexibility and room for specialization, as cinematographers may focus on a particular genre or style, such as naturalistic lighting for documentaries or dramatic contrast in narrative cinema. The job often involves traveling to different locations and working under varying lighting and weather conditions, making it both challenging and rewarding. As they process, cinematographers build portfolios that reflect their unique visual style, which can help them establish a distinctive career in the competitive film industry. The profession editor requires a deep understanding of storytelling, pacing, and rhythm, as editors make crucial decisions about which shots to take, to keep, rearrange, or discard to create a seamless flow. Editors typically work with the director and cinematography to ensure that the final cut reflects the intended vision. Starting as assistant editors is common, allowing individuals to gain experience and insight into the editing process while handling tasks like organizing footage and managing timelines. Editors may specialize in narrative film editing, while others may focus on fast-paced work like commercials or film videos. Editors working on documentaries often face unique challenges, such as crafting a narrative from unscripted material, while editors in feature films work to ensure continuity and emotional impact. As they gain experience, editors may transition into roles such as lead editors or post-production supervisors, where they oversee entire editing films and teams. Editing as a career is ideal for individuals with a keen eye for detail, patience, and a strong sense of storytelling. Versatility is essential. Ultimately, trying different genres fosters a well-rounded, resilient skill set that can handle any challenge, while allowing editors and cinematographers to develop a distinctive style that becomes their signature. In editing, establishing the geography of a scene early on is important to adapt the viewer in the narrative. This often involves using and establishing a wide shot at the beginning of the scene, offering a clear view of the environment and the relationship between characters within it. When cutting between shots, it's generally advisable to maintain consistency in shot size. For example, moving from one medium shot to another or from close-up to close-up rather than jumping abruptly from a wide shot to a close-up. This approach, called cutting on shot scale, maintains visual continuity, avoiding jarring shifts that might pull the viewer out of the scene. Determine the points of the viewer of the scene, then cut too much. For instance, if our main character is Julie, we should be cutting to other shots of Julie glances and paying very close attention to how the scene affects her. For two great examples of things built on the point of view of a single character, watch the first 5 minutes of Born into Brothels and Iraq in Fragments. In both films, extreme close-ups on the faces of children are used as the motivating element of the scene. In editing, close attention to facial expressions, especially the eyes, is crucial as they convey powerful emotion with even the slightest change. The eyes are incredibly expressive, often telling the story effectively, and capturing these details can deeply connect the viewer to the character inner world. Each scene should also be constructed with a narrative and emotional arc, guiding the audience through a build-up of a tension or emotion that leads to a climax, resolution, or new question by the end. Saving close-ups for the climax can heighten this impact, using the intimacy and detail to emphasize pivotal moments. In editing, each choice balances anticipation and risk. We hope for the best, but fear the worst. Remember this rule. You can make huge strides toward hiding your cuts by simply moving your picture cuts to be asynchronous with your sound cuts. This way, this picture cut will feel smoother because it's happening over a continuous piece of audio. And when there is a change in the text or the audio, your audience will be less likely to notice it. The L cut allows the audio from the first scene to linger briefly into the next scene, providing a continuous auditory bridge that guides the viewer through the visual change. This technique not only makes the transition feel smoother, but also maintains a sense of connection between scenes, which is particularly useful in moments where the emotional tone can over from one scene to the another. Conversely, the J-cut introduces the audio from the following scene slightly before the picture cut, setting up anticipation or a sense of foreshadowing. By allowing the audience to hear the new audio before seeing the new visual, the J-cut engages them in tradition, piquing curiosity about what's coming next, creating a subtle tension. If simply shifting sound and picture cuts doesn't sufficiently smooth out audio transitions, adding what we can call bad or noisy sound to cover the cuts can be surprisingly effective. This approach seems to blend disparate audio environments to create a more cohesive sound experience. For instance, imagine clip A has a constant hum from an air conditioner, whereas clip B is clean with minimal background noise. To avoid an abrupt change in background audio that may disrupt the scenes, you can leverage clip A's noise to mask this transition. First, organize your audio tracks by placing all of clip A audio on the A1 track and clip B on the A2 track. Then identify a segment of uninterrupted room note from clip A and layer it across the gaps on A1. This continuous background noise fills the empty spaces and prevents sudden, noticeable shifts between clips. When making cuts, try to avoid transitions that coincide with blinks. Blinks, like finishing sentences, signal a momentary pause or disruption, and they subtly draw the viewer's eye. If a cut happens right at the blink, it creates a subliminal jolt that can make the transition feel abrupt or hard, even if the viewer doesn't consciously notice the connection. Instead, aim to take cuts just before or after a blink. This way, the flow between shots feels more continuous. Many of us fall into a pattern of pushing ourselves relentlessly, believing that if we are not sacrificing our well-being, we are not truly committed to our goals. This masochistic relationship to work often leads us to equate effort with exhaustion, feeling that we are only worthy if we are pushing ourselves to the limit. Alternatively, there is a tendency to delay starting a project until the deadline looms. This can lead to hyper-focusing and working excessively to catch up, often resulting in burnout. In both cases, the lack of regular breaks and the intense all-or-nothing approach to work can have serious consequences on mental and physical health. Latest psychological research reinforces what experienced editors have long recognized. Taking regular breaks and limiting work hours is crucial for maintaining productivity and achieving results. From a neuroscience and psychological perspective, the brain ability to problem solve diminishes significantly when we focus on the same task for extended periods. Just as our cognition function fatigue, our sensory perception also adapts. When exposed to the same visual or auditory stimuli over time, the brain starts to tune them out, making it harder to notice new details or catch subtle errors. So 3 rules that I personally trying to follow. Yes, please, maybe it will be useful for you. Please remember, rule number 1, cut, cut, cut. In editing, be ruthless. Each cut is an opportunity to refine the story, maintain momentum, and eliminate anything that couldn't add value. Rule number 2, every shot must serve the story. Each cut should push the narrative forward, deliver new insights, and evoke every reaction or emotion. Every shot needs purpose. If it doesn't contribute, it risks weakening the whole. And rule number 3, you are only as good as your last project. Regardless of past achievements, each new project sets the current standard. Every edit and creative choice reflects your abilities, and each film must stand on its own in quality and impact. As we close this chapter in our course, remember that each skill you honed, every technique you've explored, and each perspective you've discussed is now a part of your toolkit. Editing and cinematography aren't just crafts, they are ways of seeing, interpreting, and shaping stories in ways that resonate deeply with audiences. We've come a long way together, covering the foundation and the finer points of bringing vision to life on screen. Thank you so much for all attention, commitment, curiosity, and creativity thoughts through this journey. If you have time, please do this practice. Just taking 2 minutes, write the main conclusions about why we should, students and teachers, of course, yes. Take this practice, just 2 minutes, write the main conclusions, why we should study cinematography and editing, how it enhances our ability, yes, to connect with our audience. Good luck, stay inspired, and remember that every project you take on it is an opportunity to learn, grow, and tell unforgettable stories. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.